Greetings, this is Griff Ruby, the Nostalgic Catholic, with yet another Isaac Asimov short story. As you can see, his name is on the cover, not the name of the story. It is, however, table of contents as The 13th Day of Christmas, Isaac Asimov, page 33. So, what do we have here? Well, there doesn't appear to be any artwork in here. But we do have a small blurb. So let's take a look at that. Alright. It says a new detective short by Isaac Asimov. In the footsteps of earlier boy detectives, Lord Frederick Hamilton's P.J. Davenant, Harvey J. O. Higgins Barney Cook, Eden Philpott's Vincent Peters, Mark Twain's Tom Sawyer, Booth Tarkington's Penrod, Ellery Queen Jr., Danny Nathan, and now to all of these we're going to add our young Larry, son of a detective. Son of a detective. Son of a detective. Larry, that's right, Larry the detective. Okay. 13th Day of Christmas. Now, this is a good story even for today. It holds up surprisingly well. See, what's happened is there's a bomb threat. It's in the United Nations, and it's against the Russian embassy or office or whatever they've got in there. I'm not sure they have anything now, but okay. But that I don't think they're not. But let's just suppose in recent times, and probably times yet to come, we all hope and pray that all these, that peace can be restored. But at any rate, there was a bomb threat, and they threatened to do the bomb on Christmas Day, and everyone gets all worried, and they watch for it, and you get all the police and and the FBI back when they were that's not so applicable. The FBI today doesn't really give a crap about these sorts of things anymore. But maybe someday, we hope, America hopes, America prays, there'll be a big cleaning house there, and then maybe they would care about a thing like a bomb threat once again, as they once upon a time did care about such things, are supposed to care about such things, and we all hope and pray it will come to a time when once again they will again care about such things. Anyway, and nothing happens, and so well, I guess it was all just just a hoax, just a scare. And then Larry suddenly figures out, wait a minute, maybe who talked about Christmas here was a Russian Orthodox who, here's the thing, their calendar has been on the Julian calendar perpetually, while ours is on the let's see here. It says here. It's there. It's right here. Okay. So Gregorian. How can I forget that? Okay, shame on me. Gregorian calendar. Now the difference is very slight, but the fact of the matter is things have over the centuries kind of slipped a little bit off every now and then. And as this story is written, literally, the Russian Orthodox Christmas, in fact, does come 13 days after Christmas, or on our regular January 7th. And he's doing a performance January 6th of the, they had this school thing about the 12 days of Christmas. They figure that's okay because it's all about presents and not about anything religious. Well, I don't know. I mean, there are known religious interpretations, and it's generally believed that one or another of these is what was actually intended when the song or the poem or whatever it's based on was originally wrote. The two turtle doves as the Old and New Testaments, for example, and the four calling birds of the four Gospels, and there's different things like that. I mean, all these numbers have meanings something or other, something biblical or whatever, or scriptural or historical or relating to the Christian church and history and so forth. So interpretations may vary, and I'm not sure that any of them have a whole lot of authenticity, but I think the intention was that this was supposed to kind of be like a way to talk about some of these things, say, with children, and especially at times and places where, let's say, Christianity wasn't allowed. So, things would drift off every now and then. Amazingly enough, this story is written back in 1977 or so. It does have a somewhat unusual history, which he brings out. The story turns up both in the key word and other stories. It is, after all, a Larry the Detective story, and so the early stories are in there, and also in these best mysteries of Isaac Asimov, master's choice of his own favorite. And in here, he has a rather interesting little note to precede it. Alright, and it says, I also write a series of mystery stories for young people. This is meant for young people. Stories in which my detective is a junior high school student named Larry. I do not do them often, and have only 11 of them so far. Usually they run in Boy's Life magazine. This one, however, was rejected by them for some reason, but it was snapped up by Ellery Queen's mystery magazine. You saw it was Ellery Queen's and not Boy's Life, even though it was patently a juvenile. It was my favorite Larry story, and I had even been so vain as to read it aloud to my daughter. Ordinarily, I never let anyone see my stories before acceptance, which meant I was all the more taken aback at its rejection. However, it is still my favorite, and here it is, and includes it there. So that's kind of interesting. He'd been sending these stories to Boy's Life, and that's where most of them appear. This particular one, for whatever mysterious reason, Boy's Life chose not to take it. And so he just, well, give it to Ellery Queen's, and they did take it, which is good. So now we have a good classic story, and it's kind of interesting. The Russians are suspecting anybody and everybody, maybe something Zionistic or whatever. Why does everybody always blame the Jews for everything? It's ridiculous. Fortunately, once Larry's able to get that idea to his father, who's an important policeman, who can get it all around everybody else, it turns out there was some guy who was a Russian, who was, for him, Christmas was our January 7th, and he did intend to put a bomb, or maybe a real threat. So, but they tracked it out, they figured out who it was, took care of it, so there was no explosion, and all went well. And of course, once we got to that, well, you could have let the Jews out anyway. Why would the Jews do things on a Christmas day? You know, that didn't even make sense. And even the Russians, as you know, supposedly, if this is a Soviet, officially communist Russia, or supposedly atheistic, what would they care about Christmas Day? But a Russian Orthodox might care about a thing like that, although I don't see a devout Orthodox like any other Christian willing to blow people up, and especially on a holiday of any sort. But I guess if somebody were deranged enough to want to do a thing like that, that might be one way for them to set the time for when they would have a bomb explode. So, but it was a different Christmas day, and obviously once it's on there, at least that lets the Jews out. That's nice. He may not be much of a practicing Jew, but I think he kind of felt some closeness in there with that. Anyway, I think it's a good story. I have no understanding why Boy's Life would not take this story. Asimov himself has included it in his keyword and other mysteries. And it fits right in along with the other ones, most of which we've already covered, as a matter of fact. And the next one will be the last one. It's I'm doing this now. Yeah. Indeed, the next one we'll be reviewing the newest story to appear in this. Thanks for listening.